All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. And of course, thanks for subscribing. Tesla's back at it. They're on it. Their devs are going overtime, releasing out iteration after iteration of FSD Beta version 11. We're now at FSD Beta version 11.3.3. This is the latest build that's gone out to employees successfully, it seems, and now it's gone out to the first wave of testers to test. All the release notes seem pretty straightforward, pretty much similar than before, with the difference of, for certain people, for cars, I guess, without ultrasonic sensors, is the auto park. Auto park capabilities have been implemented with vision only. So that's pretty much it. We don't have that here. All we have is the recall, suspension, cabin camera, so on and so forth. We have ultrasonic sensors here, so we don't have that particular release note set. But for those who don't have the ultrasonic sensors, they should be having that. And maybe if some cars do have ultrasonic sensors, they may switch them over to vision only, Model 3s and Model Ys. But right now for the Model S, with ultrasonic sensors, the refresh, Model S Plaid, we don't have the auto park release note here. So I'm not sure if that's applicable. But anyway, let's take it out for a drive. Let's take it out for a spin. Let's see how it does. FSD Beta version 11.3.3. And hopefully this is the stable build, the build that's necessary for us to be able to go wide and go wider. All right. Maybe fixing some bugs. So let's go ahead and just take it out, activate it, and go. We'll do our regression testing, and then we will do getting over to the right a little bit and then making that wide turn. I don't really like that behavior, but let's just see. I'm not going to say anything too much about it other than I just prefer not to do it because the car behind me is trying to turn. All clear, good to go. Pothole, no worries. Nice and smooth, very good. Very good so far. Okay, I'll bump it up to 30 to keep it at parity to what we've been doing. But so far, so good. It's going to start to rain a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't rain too hard that it throws us out. But so far, it's much of the same, which is a good thing. See how it takes this turn. Is it going to stay here or is it going to get into the lane? It's getting into the lane. It's going to go a little wider. Slows down. 10 mile an hour, probably the lowest I'd go, but still good. Very smooth. Good mile an hour there. See how wide it goes here. Pretty wide, but it does a good job controlling and slowing down. Again, just a lot of unnecessary movement when you take a wide turn like that, because you have to go wide, then you have to come back in and course correct, and it becomes awkward. You see FSD Beta trying to visualize the lane lines, where they should be, or where they maybe are and just are not visible in this particular street, which is great. Slowing down nicely for this turn. Great job here, great job here, great job here. Good job slowing down again. The control and its ability to take turns is really what the showstopper is in this particular iteration. Here's our unprotected left. Let's see what happens here. Light day-to-day traffic-wise, so this should be a pretty good one, stopping well before the limit line, the actual limit line. Now creeping forward, but still creeping forward way into the lane for the creep limit. Gets out there and pauses. Okay, so it hurries up out there, but I still didn't like that momentary pause. I'm going to flag that one. Flag it. There we go. That momentary pause is the difference between getting T-boned and not, or causing an incident and not. It needs to commit and just go. It paused, then committed and went wonderfully once it committed, but that momentary pause is the difference between catastrophe. I think they need to resolve that particular issue, where it sort of gets out to the middle, does a double, triple, quadruple check, whatever it is, and pauses, and then goes, okay? So otherwise, everything else that it did about that turn was great. Limit line was far out there, obviously, because the repeater cameras that look left and right are further back, so it needs to get way out there to see, understandably so, based on the current hardware set. But everything else was pretty good about that turn. Did a good job waiting, taking its turn, all that good stuff. Excellent control, smoothness, comfort, confidence on these basic scenarios are really, really good, really confidence inspiring. It just needs to ease up on thinking with its turn signals. right? Thinking it wants to go a little wider, so turn signal. Thinks it wants to go a little bit right, turn signal. And that kind of confuses drivers around it in a way that is not good. This is what it should be doing. If it needs to get into this lane, just put the turn signal on, get into that lane. And don't turn it on and turn it off, just keep it on. I know the path planner is thinking, it's figuring out which way it wants to go, but just don't think with your turn signals. Small thing, small detail, not critical, but it is something that will affect other drivers, so therefore it needs to be addressed at some point. Someone sees you have a turn signal to go left, they're going to try to get around you. They see you have a turn signal to go right, they're going to try to get around you on the left, and that can be problematic, especially if you just mean to go straight. Here we go. Maybe because it's dark, it definitely does seem to be a little bit brighter than before on the new refresh Model S and X. The visuals around you that are sort of deprioritized, not as important, have been a little bit brighter, turned up a little brighter. And it may just be because it's a cloudy day today, overcast day today. Good job staying in control. Good job not weaving around that car. That was a great job. Great positioning in the lane on that one. Didn't go far right, stayed mostly centered or more towards the left, which is what it should do. So that was actually a good job as I was talking over that moment. The smoothness in stopping is really good. The smoothness in acceleration is also very good and very timely as well. I remember FSD Beta used to hesitate a lot to accelerate and used to slam on the brakes pretty hard and aggressively. This is really, really smooth, really, really good. All right, so far so good. Bringing me back to 11.3.1, that smoothness. All right, here's the turn, Is it gonna go in, then go wide, or is it gonna go in and make the turn regular? Here it goes, going in already, stays here, slows down a lot, takes the turn slowly, but good. Okay, I like that. If you're gonna go in and turn. Don't go in and go wide, which is what it used to do. So that's actually really, really good improvements here for FSD Beta. And we're at our destination. Quick, simple, to the point. We're just doing regression testing right here when we do these initial first drives. We're not trying to do anything crazy. And as I turn the navigation off, you can start to see some of the visualization here. A lot wider, a lot more expansive, all the way into people's garages and parking lots and things of that nature. Okay? And a little bit brighter somehow, some way, maybe because it's overcast. But again, all the way on the driveway, all the way over here, you get to see all that detail here. All right, let's go to our next destination. Let's activate here. Actually, I will pause this for a second. I'll let them go. I want to just take a different route. I want to go this way, just to change it up a bit. Go straight, take its turn, and it sees the car coming there, and it goes slowly. I'm okay with that. We're going to go a different route this route, just to give you guys a chance to see some variance. But we'll go up our winding mountain road this time for this particular version of the test. Here we go. There was also something in the release notes about trying to stay on narrow roads where cars are parked. It kind of stays the course, which is what I've been asking for, as opposed to weaving in and out at every point where there is an opening, which is what I don't want it to do, even if it's a wider road. So it seems like it's doing that right here. So it's not weaving in and out at every gap of parked cars. It sees the row of parked cars and says, hey, guess what? I'm just going to go straight and make my own lane and disregard the positioning or the spacing of the parked cars. That's the right behavior, but it's also the right behavior for any road. You want to just basically reduce the amount of movement and effort when driving down those roads, because the cars are going to be parked there. And if they're parked there, bias yourself towards the center line, stay straight in your lane, and you don't have to weave in and out of the cars and create that disoriented experience. Navigation has updated a little bit, so the routes that we typically take, especially on the round trip, have changed a little bit. And I've noticed that across the board for this and the 2023X with the mainstream build, if you will. The navigation routes have changed. and therefore the way that we get places is not always the same, which is okay. So our routes may change a little bit. Does not recognize the fire trucks, but it does recognize this little flashing light. So it stops for a minute and then creeps forward and visualizes the fire truck as a truck with a traffic light on it, which is kind of interesting. Okay. So if we needed to turn, no turn on red. It was a bug in the last build where it was actually turning on red. I think I actually did one of the videos where it actually turned on red when it shouldn't have. Hopefully it adheres to that. I don't think we're going to encounter that in this particular drive. I definitely don't want to turn down that street, but let's just see what happens. We have visualizations of dogs and people and strollers, but we don't have visualizations of emergency vehicles. We definitely need to get that at some point, especially if the car is expected to adhere to that. Look at this car parking and pulling back. Slows down nicely, but a little too close for my taste, but it's okay. And it goes. I would have given him a little bit more space just in case, something happened. Speed bump coming up here. Let's see if it visualizes it. Let's see if it adheres to it. If it doesn't, I will disengage. Going pretty fast, and it's not going to do it. Did not slow down for speed bump. So I took over on that one. It's still coming in too hot on speed bumps. It's not even visualizing them. It used to visualize them and adhere to them. I guess depending on the size, it's not doing that right now. Good turn. Good turn. It's got some warders in the back to give us an indicator of how strong it's braking or turning or accelerating. If you guys hear that, that's what that is. Again, here we go. Cars are parked. Are you going to stay straight or are you going to weave? It seems like it's staying mostly straight. It's not weaving as dramatically as it did. It's kind of staying straight and saying, hey, there's cars up here. I need to stay in a lane that doesn't require me to move. And I see it fighting itself too. It's fighting its nature to try to do that. So here's an interesting maneuver, a quick right and a quick left. I've never done this on FSD Beta, so I'm interested to see how it works. And it's kind of blind to the left. Cars. We're all clear and we're very close to this curb and the car is very hesitant. Here we go. Oh, wonderful. Smooth. Yes. Very good. A little hesitant to get out there, and it's really just its visibility trying to get itself out there, because as a person, you have to lean forward to see to the left. I get that. Now, this car has the right of way. Stop there. Did not stop for car. Did not stop for car who had the right of way. All right. So that was an issue. Basically, the car that was going this way had the right of way. We had to wait, yield the right of way to him, and then go. The car treated it as an always stop, which is what it was not. A little bit of an edge case. It's not as common in this area. It's usually an always stop, but like up here is an always stop. So I'll give it a pass, but definitely something where they can work on that. Most places around the country are typically always stops in those scenarios. Waits its turn and then goes. No California roll here, even though these stops are sequential and like back to back, and maybe it's a pain to stop fully, but it's doing the right thing. This is what you want out of your semi-autonomous car. And here's a good edge case. The only one parked car here on this road. Is it going to stay the course? There's branches there. Is it going to hit it? Very close to hitting it. And put my camera back up. Very close to hitting that tree, that branch. Creep limit is up there. And go. We're getting really lucky with the traffic today. It's early morning on a weekend, so not a lot of traffic. And I'll try to get to more denser traffic areas, but I want to conquer just the simple things first. At the very least, if we can say, hey, it has confidence to drive in areas where there's less dense traffic, that becomes an indicator of when you can use it and when you shouldn't use it. depending on what it's doing. For city streets only, highway is flawless. But city streets, that's a good indicator of when you should use it and when you shouldn't use it. So I'll do some denser traffic drives. You guys can get a sense of how it fares in those situations, those conditions. This is going to be interesting. We're going up steep hills, blind corners. You really have to get out there to see. As a human, you have to lean forward or move your car way forward to be able to see left and right down the roads. Luckily, there's not a lot of traffic here, and that's the one-way stop here on the main road. That's the one-way stop, not an all-way stop. All right, so up this hill, we're gonna make a left. There's gonna be a median. This median typically causes the car to slow down to about 15 to 20 miles an hour going left. And I suspect that's gonna be the same here, but let's just see what happens. So we're going up the hill. Maybe you can't see it. And it goes, whoa. Slows down 15 miles, 60 miles an hour up by this median for some reason. And then we're going into this winding mountain road. Let's see what happens. Goes to 50. I quickly grab it, go down to 25. I'm gonna go to 25. All right, good job here. No barriers, just us and the us and the edge of the road. So we gotta be careful here. Leaves occluding some of the lane lines, but let's see what it does. Here we go. Wonderful control here, even going over the yellow line to be centered and biased towards the inside of the lane. Pedestrian here slows down predictively and perceptively, those perceptive slowdowns. Hey, there's a jogger there. What are they gonna do? I'm okay with that. Excellent job navigating this so far. Big bump, can't avoid it, it's okay. Excellent job, look at this. Look at the control. Look at the poise. Look at the smoothness. Can't really convey it on camera, but it's really, really smooth, really effective. And again, that biasing towards the inside. I've been asking for that since 2016, biasing towards the inside line, like humans drive, avoiding the dangers of the outside line, especially in scenarios like this where there's no barrier. Okay, speed limit sign of 10 miles an hour does not recognize that still, and does not recognize the speed limit of this park, and it just goes to 50. So in the interest of just speeding up this video and no one being around, I'll leave it at 25. I won't drop down to 10 until I see people, then I'll drop down to the appropriate level or just disengage altogether. This is an edge case. This is just trying to put the system to its limits. Do not do as I say, not as I do. Don't try this, don't drive it through a park. Unless it's, unless you know the park, you know the area, and it's something like a pass-through of a park versus going to the actual park. All right. It's always done pretty good here. It's just doing it a lot better now with FSD Beta version 11. This is the first time I'm taking it up here for version 11. And there was a point where we go around to the more people populated part of the park where it sort of breaks down. And I'm gonna keep my speed low to try to see if I can reproduce that and maybe even conquer it this time with version 11. Let's see what happens. And that'll conclude our test today for city streets. We'll do another one on highway, maybe tomorrow. And see what oh, great job, stand to the inside. Now, up here, it automatically goes towards these parked cars. For some odd reason, the logic just makes it go towards the parked cars. And look at it's fighting. It wants to go. So it's kind of there, kind of not. I'm gonna bump down to 15 to 10 miles an hour. Here we go. Car's coming. It sees it, it waits for it. Great job. Now it goes. Here we go. Here's the moment of truth. It's still a little hesitant. That's an indicator that it might not work well here, but I'm at 10 miles an hour. So that should help me out. Helped me out last time. Can I make this turn without going into the curb? Okay. Yes. Very good. Very good at slow speeds. If it goes any faster than that, it's going to be problematic. But great job with slow speeds. Come on. Excellent job. Wonderful job. Come on. And the car's here. Let's see what happens. Whew. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. We're here. We're going into the valet. We're here. All right, let's call it. All right, so far, FSD Beta version 11.3.3 is pretty nice on the streets. Now, with the asterisk of there not being a lot of traffic to really contend with, but just in terms of, hey, no traffic, just the open road, it's pretty good. It's giving me 11.3.1 vibes plus some extra, okay? Let me know what you thought about this in the comments. Right now, if I had to rate this particular build in terms of our typical factors, safety, comfort, decision-making, confidence, I would do safety. I'd give it a 7. I felt very safe, very comfortable. Obviously, I didn't go into all scenarios, so I didn't give it a higher score, but I felt pretty safe. The only thing that gives me cause to pause, in addition to not going to all scenarios, is the fact that creep limit is so far out there. And when it goes out there and then tries to make that unprotected left, it sort of pauses for a minute. That makes you feel a little unsafe. So that brings it down to a 7, but that's still a good score, right? In terms of decision making, I want to give it an 8. It made some great decisions. It did a lot of great things in terms of making the turn, the quick right and the quick left, very easy, waiting and hesitating and doing perceptive slowdowns around pedestrians, taking its time getting through the intersections, right? That one instance where it's just an edge case where it's a one-way stop and the person going this way had the right of way. Obviously, it didn't make the right decision there, but it gets an 8. In terms of confidence, whew, this thing is pretty confident. I also want to give it an 8 in confidence. This is pretty confident build, similar to 11.3.1. So it's really good there. And in terms of comfort, right? Comfort, how comfortable was it? I'm going to give it an 8. Also very, very comfortable, very, very human-like. And if you've been on the 10.69 build, you're really going to feel that difference of how more human-like it feels, how more comfortable it feels making turns, slowing down, accelerating, staying in its lane, maneuvering around obstacles. Very, very comfortable, okay? So that's pretty much my take on it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think about this drive. Let me know if you got this particular build, if you're in the first wave or you're in the expanded first wave. Let me know your thoughts. And until the next time, enjoy your day. Enjoy your Tesla.